Hello COM4806ers. Sorry for being late with this welcome video. I had various problems yesterday and today still the building noise continued throughout the day, so I had to wait until all the builders are gone before I could record this video. Hopefully my planning for next week will be a bit better and I'll be on time on Monday with the next scheduled video tutorial. I am Louise van Dijk, as you might have guessed. I'm the coordinator of COM4806 at the moment, and I'm your main contact for the module. I wanted to make this video so that I can give you some idea of who I am, what I'm thinking, and what COM4806 is all about in general. I also want to make use of the opportunity to highlight some things that I really think is important to know at the beginning of a cycle. So I'm going to use the time now to cover some of those. So first, let's start with COM4806. The module is about organizational communication research, as you full well know. And assignment 1 and assignment 2 build on one another, and both of them prepare you in a way for the big task that is assignment 3, or the examination portfolio. So unlike other honors modules, we only have 2 assignments and 1 examination portfolio, also called assignment 3. Assignment 1 is mostly literature based because it's about the abstract and kind of difficult ideas around research philosophy and worldviews and belief systems in research. So the big intention of assignment 1 is to get you to read academic texts, interpret from them, integrate between them, and present in your own voice and in your own words your answers to the questions set in assignment 1. Then assignment 2 takes it one step further, and there we start to link these paradigmatic positions and worldviews to real research context, to real organizational contexts, and also further link it to the more practical side of doing research. Together, assignment 1 and 2 will prepare you to do assignment 3, where you are required to present a research proposal. And then, in your research proposal, you must show that you understand the philosophical paradigmatic positions and you can make that work with a context, with a topic, and with the execution practical side of methodology. And then I trust all of you have received the work schedule I've shared on my Unisa. That gives you a broad outline of how I manage this module and what I'm planning for the year. There is an indication of dates on which I will release mostly video-based tutorials and other material to you, and there's also a little to-do list for the core assignment months to remind you of some important things you should be doing or should be thinking about or should be making sure of in a specific period. Use that to base your own study planning on. I want to use the opportunity today or tonight to talk to you about 4 important things. The first is some house rules about working together as humans, as lecturer and as student group. Then I want to talk briefly about the library website and accessing your e-reserves. Then I want to talk about important things about Turnitin and academic integrity, and some more general things about technical presentation. Now, first things first, let's talk about the house rules. For the rest of the year, we are going to have to work together. You have to deal with me, and I have to deal with you. And we are all humans, and all of us have lives. And as we saw last year, life can get pretty rough pretty quickly, and we must be able to work together even if things change or even if there's difficulties along the road of you guys studying COM4806 and me being your lecturer. I want to set some house rules on the table for how I deal with extension requests and how I think about it. The first thing that's important is that the due dates for assignments, they count, they are important. General rule of thumb, we stick to deadlines. You have until midnight of a deadline to submit your assignment. Sometimes you can get lucky and the system, the Unisa portal, will stay open for an hour or whatever after midnight. But I want you to know that if the portal stays open for long, maybe a day after the deadline, getting your assignment in via Unisa does not mean it will be marked. Another rule of thumb is submit your assignments via Unisa, not via email. I will talk a little bit more about using email to maybe build your case if you are requesting an extension from me. And I'm also not talking about like really special circumstances, but a submission of an assignment via email is not an official submission of your assignment. It must be in via Unisa. Now, extensions. Important to know from the start that there are no extensions for the examination portfolio. It is not within the rights of lecturers to give extensions on exams. Just as your lecturer for an undergrad module can't walk into an exam hall and say to everyone they can have half an hour longer today. It is not something that we are at liberty to decide. If something does happen to you that prohibits you from submitting your exam portfolio, you must formally apply for an aggregate examination. There is no informal way of getting a day or two extension on exam portfolio. Know that from the start and don't expect that there can be some leniency. It's just not something that's possible. Then for assignments, of course, it's a bit easier because assignment extensions is something you can talk to me about as the module coordinator. The first house rule is that you must be proactive. If something happens to you a day before the deadline, talk to me a day before the deadline, not 2 days after the deadline. It's much easier to believe a story and to have an ear for someone's situation when your actions speak of somebody who is responsible and proactive in terms of their studies. The next rule is you must be able to provide proof or some backup for your story. If you say Unisa was offline at a specific time, take a screenshot showing the time on your computer screen so that I can know what you're saying is consistent with that screenshot. If you've tried multiple times, make multiple screenshots. If you can't access Turnitin, take a screenshot. If your laptop gets stolen, make a copy of the police report. If you are ill, submit a doctor's certificate. Not all stories are necessarily hard proof, but back your story up, whether it's with proof, whether it's with a consistency with other things, whether you can show me progress via your Turnitin submissions or something like that. Remember to be ready to back yourself up. Then extensions, I can't grant you an extension if you didn't do your part. If you run into a technical problem 5 minutes before midnight, I'm sorry, you must not cry to someone else, but you should have been planning better than to not be able to deal with a 5-minute offline or a bottleneck on the Unisa portal or data running out or something like that. The next house rule is that extensions must mirror in a way the problems that they are related to. I can't give you an extension of 2 weeks for 2 days of illness. I can't give you an extension based on a procedure that you elected to take at a specific time, like a laser eye operation or something. I can't give you an extension for an operation 2 weeks ago that you knew 2 weeks before then was going to happen. You should have planned your time around the things in your life, as we all do. And yeah, these are basically the house rules for assignment submission and requesting extensions. The main thing for me is to be fair towards everyone in the class, and most of my decisions are thought with that fairness principle in mind. And of course, as the honours module lecturers, we've talked to one another, and we are trying to take the same line of decision making and rules of thumb as we go manage our modules. Then the next thing is your reading material. I've spoken to a couple of you already, and from most of those discussions, it's clear that you guys don't really know how to navigate the library website. Now, not only are those skills like almost unavoidable to learn as an honours student, but you know, the library is a fantastic place. It is a wonderland. You can't imagine how many sources of information, how much you have access to, things that other people pay. Well, maybe you have an idea. If you go via Google Scholar and you search for something, maybe Wiley Online Library or Sage or something, and you get to that paywall where you have to pay for a PDF. You know, that is what people outside of the university pay when they just want to read someone's article. You get all of that included in your study fees, and there is so much more than you can imagine. So take it as an important skill, but also as like a whole new world that can open up for you if you truly know how to navigate the online library. So for assignment 1, you are obliged to use the reserved reading. You may not use anything else. So to find your e-reserves, now basically it works like this. I will show you on my screen. So from the library homepage, you find these 3 blocks, and there is find e-reserves and recommended books. There you type in your module code, and then there is the list of reserved reading. Now for most of it, it should be easy enough. So you click on it, Asante, then connect to this electronic resource by clicking on that link. And there you are linked through, and you click on PDF. And you can download there and save it on your hard drive or somewhere. The same, let's do another one. Opom. Connect to this electronic resource. There I'm asked to log in. Those are my same library logins. If something goes wrong with this login, I'll give you contacts for the library later in this bit. But there you go, and you can download the PDF by clicking there. So most of them should be directly linked by just connecting to this electronic resource, that little button, that one, for a direct download. For those sources that are chapters in printed books, they should download directly. Like Unisa is one. It's not a journal article or an entry in an online encyclopedia or something. It is a chapter in a printed book, so the PDF has been scanned and uploaded by the library staff, and it will look a little bit different. It happens that some of these links might be broken. The first thing you try is link directly to it via that connect to this electronic resource button, and downloading the PDF from there. So this seems to be linked correctly. Yeah, that's no problem. But if something is broken in that link, or if you can't get past the login screen, or something that prevents you from just easily accessing it in this way, there's also a lot of other ways you can search for a source. In your Tutorial 101, you have the full reference. The full reference is also here on the screen. All the information you need for the reference is on your screen. So you can see the author's name and surname, the year of publication, the name of the journal. And even in some instances, you can see the database where it's kept or something like that. Now, if you couldn't click through to this source by using this button. I want to show you another way to search for it. You can go to the library website. You can see from this entry that it's a journal article. It is an article published in the Journal of Mixed Methods Research in 2007. All right. Now, on the library homepage, you can find e-journals and e-books. Go to that link. It takes a little bit more. It's almost like digging or being a sleuth in some ways. But there are virtually tens of ways to access the same source via different paths on the library website. Now, all right. Searching the publication finder for Unisa. Let's see, that is the Journal of Mixed Methods Research. Let's copy that, paste it into the search bar, and search. Journal of Mixed Methods Research. That's maybe the best one because it has the full text access indication there. You could go directly to that one. Then the full text. You see, this is the list, full text access. They will list all the databases on which this journal is hosted. So here you see Sage Premier is the only one listed here. So you click through to that. Now you are on the page of that journal. Now you go back to the reference. You see it was published volume 1, number 3 of 2007. Let's look at it. We want 2007. Issue 3. There we open that entire issue. We are looking for page 212. Let's see. And there you go. The second one, page 212, and you can download the PDF from there. But if you somehow get stuck even at this point, let's use this one as an example. This is an entry called Afrocentricity, and it was written by Molefekete Asante. So now it's supposed to click through on that tab, and it seems that it does click through directly. But let's say that didn't work. Then you looked at the entry and you saw that it was in an encyclopedia. It's not a journal, so you can't use the e-journal finder necessarily. Let's see if there's another way. You know the title of this entry is Afrocentricity. You know the name of the author, and here at the bottom you can see it's the International Encyclopedia of Intercultural Communication. It's published by Wiley Blackwell. Now, one of the databases Unisa keeps is the Wiley Online Library. So that could be a way to search via the publisher. Did you see what I clicked now? I clicked e-resources instead of e-journals and e-books. I accept that. Then I'm looking for publishers because I can see the publisher of that source is Wiley Blackwell. Let's see what we can find. There you can see Wiley Online Library is a database that Unisa lecturers and students have access to. So let's try searching via the publisher and a online database by the specific publisher. See, now you can see the Blackwell name because those are two publishing houses that merged. So they were Wiley and Blackwell. No, they're Wiley Blackwell, or Blackwell Wiley, I don't know which way around. All right. Online references, Encyclopedia. There's quite a few listed here. Yeah, I usually go for the big one. There's usually one that gives you the entire collection. And here the example of it is the Wiley Online Library. Books, journals, reference titles, all together. That would be my first search, but you can take your time and search through all of them until you get a feeling for which ones work best and so on. Now, let's try and put the entry title, which is just the one term, Afrocentricity, as the search term and start our search within this Wiley Online Library database. here you can see some related ones. That's by Outlaw. That is by Molefikete Asante. That looks like ours. Let's check the entry against the source in our Tutorial 101 or as the or in the list of reserved sources like here. Let's see, we're looking for a 2017 publication in the International Encyclopedia of Intercultural Communication. Let's see what this is. Afrocentricity, critical intercultural concepts. Oh, there it is, the International Encyclopedia of Intercultural Communication. It's the right one and published in 2017. This is the one we're looking for. And here, what do you know, PDF button. Let's download it like that. All right, then, so now already you have two separate ways of searching for sources that are listed in your tutorial as reserved, but might not be as easy as clicking through from the list of e-reserves that we give to you. There's also another way. Now I will upload a source to my Unisa that shows you some steps of how to connect your Google Scholar to the Unisa library, but mine is set up already. So I have the option of searching via Google Scholar so that the findings of Google Scholar immediately recognizes me as being a member of the Unisa library, so then I have access without having to pay for those things. So let's see if I put Afrocentricity in there, what I find. Here I see a whole list, and there I see Molefikete Asante, Encyclopedia of Intercultural Communication 2017. That looks like the correct one. And there you go, because I am linked to the Unisa library, I can see in this column which PDFs are available to me. So that looks like it might be the same thing. I open it. This looks a bit different, doesn't it? It could be that it's a scanned copy, but remember that things on Google Scholar, and specifically if you find something on Google Scholar via academia.edu, that is somebody that uploaded it there. It's not an official database. So, and this is a very good example of this. This is a chapter by Molefikete Asante. Oh, it contains a chapter. Let's see, where is it? Oh no, it's not even by him. Oh, this is a critique on something written by Molefikete Asante. So his name is associated with this work, but it is not the source we are looking for. Let's look further. Ah, it doesn't seem to be. Let's see if we can't find it via another way. Oh. See, now I'm trying some things, and some things work, some things don't quite work, but in principle, via Google Scholar, once if you can get your Google Scholar to link, you might be able to use that as an avenue. You can use it even if it's not linked to your Unisa library access, but as you probably have noticed before, many of the things you are looking for is restricted, so you can't just download. Here and there you'll get lucky, but most of the academic reading will be protected by paywalls, so you can't just download from Google. All right, let's stop this demonstration here and move on. There's something else about the library that's very important. That is a man called Mr. Davi Malan. He is our subject librarian. He's not an assistant. He is a professional, a top expert in his field, in fact, but luckily he is very friendly and very helpful. So Mr. Davi Malan is appointed as the subject librarian that is dedicated to communication sciences, together with a bigger humanities field. But he knows the discipline inside out, and he knows the world of the library for our discipline inside out. he created a very special website called the LibGuide. You will find the link in your tutorial 101, but let's look at it here. It's this one, I think. It's the LibGuide Unisa Communication Sciences. It looks like this. And this is almost a customized library website just for us. And this is usually the place I start my searches on, because David took the trouble to organize the things we need most or regularly need as communication science scholars. On this LibGuide, you will also find his contact details. If there is a library-related problem that you can't solve yourself, he is the guy to contact. He, as I said, he's not an assistant. He is to be contacted for things you can't figure out in another way. That's the guy to talk to. Now let's quickly look at this LibGuide. In the first place, here in the middle, he created various training documents, how to search. So you will find so many of the things I've said and much more in that document. A library guide for communication science students. What more do you want? And then he also created little tabs with all sorts of database links. Can you see that there's the Sage Knowledge link we looked at earlier? And some of the other Palgrave, Emerald, the very famous publisher databases that your recommended and reserved reading might come from. He has his own little search bar and so many other options for you. I really encourage you to visit the LibGuide and use this as your own library homepage. I think that's the easiest thing to do. Next, I want to talk to you about Turnitin. In COM4806, Turnitin, plagiarism, and all other forms of academic dishonesty, these are serious matters to me. I really ask you to don't try and cheat it. Don't try to get away with the same things you got away on undergrad level maybe. Make sure you understand what plagiarism is, how to avoid it and not just obscure it, and how to produce assignments and a portfolio that speaks of academic integrity. Here are some house rules for Turnitin. Turnitin penalties are made subjectively, based on interpretation, on a case-by-case basis. It's not blindly based on the similarity index. That was the case in the past. It's not the case anymore. The similarity index gives us only some indication that there might be a problem in your text, but we don't penalize by just looking at a percentage. Also, a low percentage doesn't mean you are safe, because you can be suspected of plagiarism or being dishonest even if you have a low similarity index. And you can be penalized for those things even if you have a low index. So a low index doesn't keep you safe. A high index doesn't automatically mean you'll be penalized. We can't make a fixed rule about deductions and penalties, but generally we think like this. For similarity that is blatant, potentially intentional, and widespread between your assignment and other texts, you will receive 0 for your assignment. For serious but not overwhelming similarity in an assignment, you will receive a deduction or a penalty of 20%. And for less serious but still visible similarity, you will receive a warning in assignment 1 and a 10% deduction in further assignments. Remember that we don't consider the table of contents, the declaration, the list of sources, and so on as part of the content of your assignment when it comes to similarity. Those things you're all required to do the same thing, so it will be similar to others. So don't worry if the similarity is marked in those front and back matter. If you submit the wrong Turnitin format, for instance, like the old way of pasting the similarity page and not submitting the full report, you will receive a 10% penalty, but you are also then liable for further penalties based on the actual similarity in your text from your full report. In assignment 1, we might be a little bit more lenient in terms of Turnitin penalties, but from assignment 2, we will be stricter. So maybe in assignment 1, you'll get a warning for something that will cost you 10% or 20% deduction in assignment 2 and onwards. We offer you a lot of resources in this regard. I want to specifically show you to this one, a website called Writing for Academic Integrity. It's a collection of video tutorials on presentation, technical presentation, and plagiarism and how to avoid it. So I want you to watch those videos, at least the plagiarism ones, specifically now that we are talking about Turnitin matters. It's important that you have a wider understanding on this level. Then also my Unisa, under the additional resources, there's guidelines loaded for every module. They are same across modules. And then in your Tutorial 101 for COM4806, you'll also see a shorter version and more links to more information. If you're using Turnitin for the first time, please make sure you take enough time to figure it out. Make sure you understand how it works, how to interpret the report, how to make changes, how to work the system, how to download, and so on. Start well in advance because it takes some getting used to. All right. Now that I've spoken about Turnitin, let's talk about technical presentation in a general sense too. Relating to Turnitin and plagiarism issues. From the start of the module, I want you to be aware that you will get 0 for an assignment or the examination portfolio if you don't have in-text references and if you don't have a list of sources. You will be penalized if you reference sporadically, meaning only here and there reference. The rule of thumb is to reference every point you make, every argument you make, because you got the information from somewhere, right? You can't be describing a paradigmatic position without referencing every single fact, because none of those things you thought up. Those paradigmatic positions were conceptualized by those that you are reading, by those scholars' works that you are reading, and you must reference them for the points. So there's no way you can reference only once in a paragraph, for instance. You must be able to handle your source material technically correctly by using the correct formatting, style, completeness, correctness, and so on. But you must, on honors level, you must be able to interpret material from sources and integrate between sources. You must be able to also write arguments and discussions in your own voice and in your own words, not only in your own words, but also your own interpretation of things. I want you to think about, and on this writing for academic integrity, there's also more, there's also a few tutorials on this higher level writing skills that are important on this level. I want you to access those and also make sure that you start thinking about the finer technical points, not only the very basics of technical presentation. Then regarding the more easy part of technical presentation, I created a video in 2018. Have a look at that video now. It is outdated to some extent. The Turnitin information is outdated, and some of the technical presentation mark allocations are outdated because this is from 2018. But have a look at that presentation because it gives you a good idea of the things that you must note when you are putting an assignment together. That's all from me for now. I hope you found something useful in the video and can make a good start in your COM4806 year. We'll talk again soon. Next week, Monday, I will upload the first class session. Now, the class sessions are more about the module content, not specifically assignment details. So they are related, of course, to the assignment. So the first class will be about research philosophy and paradigms, worldviews in a kind of a general sense. So keep an eye out next Monday for the video. Until then, happy studies, guys.